Hey everybody, welcome to the show. My name is Bethany. Well, it's that time of year again, back to school, but for me and for Colin, it's our first because he's going to kindergarten in the fall. Now, whether or not I'm ready for that is a whole nother scrapbook project together, but I'm sentimental right now about his preschool year. We had a lot of fun. I got to be really involved. I wanted to commemorate that with a great scrapbook page. Let's take a look. The first thing I want to show you is actually what we're making because it has a hidden surprise. I made a folder on top of my scrapbook page and we're going to make these elements. The first thing I'm going to start with is what I call my classmate's pocket. My friend Elizabeth gave me these library card inserts. I didn't steal them from the library, I promise. And what I decided to do was fold them in half, staple them on two sides. Here's one that I've already folded and finished. So here's the staples. I also added classmates in a stamp, and I also added a date stamp using just a regular date stamp from an office supply store. I have these really cute basic gray Color Me Silly tags. I love the basic gray line. They have just really cool colors. I'm going to punch out this tag right here because I'm going to use it on my page. I love these little frogs. I thought they looked preschoolish and fun like a kid. And I know I'm going to use this one in a minute, so I'm going to punch it out right now too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this, and don't worry about all of this space at the top. We're going to take care of that here after a while, but for now I'm just going to place this at the front. Now what we're going to work on is what I call my ABC calendar. Colin's teachers sent calendars home about what they were going to work on during the year, and I wanted to compile a list. I printed this out on some regular printer paper, and now I'm going to adhere it on top of some more basic gray pattern paper. These checkers were really cute. There I have the page, even all around the sides, and now I'm going to put this at the front because we're going to do another element that goes on top of this. I cut out another piece of this basic gray paper with some small pinking shears. This measures at about 6 by 5. It's a little larger than the width of the calendar I just matted. Now, and I borrowed some really cute stamps from Trisha. These are the Club Scrap Tall letters. So here I'm just inking them with some dye-based red ink. This stamp is actually attached with the Halo's mounting system. And I'm making sure that it's lined up with the bottom so it's nice and straight. Line it up, lift straight off. Ah, there we have our perfect little A. I have one that's already finished right here. Now what I'm going to do is fold this in half. The reason I made the ABC stamped piece is because this part of the folder is going to attach to the scrapbook page like that. And it's going to open like that. So this is what this is for right here. We're just going to adhere this right on top. Now it's going to fold open like that, and everywhere it's cute. Now what we're going to do is work on what I call my Apple quote accent. I have these really cute school stickers and a piece of scrap red cardstock. What I decided to do was take this little red apple here, and I mounted this on some white cardstock so it would have a nice outline. And this is where we're using the other basic gray tag that I punched out earlier. I'm going to put it in the top corner, then I'm going to use my apple sticker and I'm going to adhere it right there. Now, one thing I really like to use on pages are quotes, and I found these really cute quote strips. Here is the one that I've already cut out. This is basically Bethany's matting technique, but without pictures. You can use it with accents and embellishments as well. Now we're going to work on the folder part of the page. I have my self-healing mat and some 12 by 12 red cardstock, and I also have my medium chipboard by Grafix. To make my folder, I need to make hinges. This right here is just some binding tape. Now this book binding tape is about 1.5 inches wide, so I'm going to hold it where I want the hinge. I'm going to use the chipboard as a guide and cut along the chipboard and make one slit. And I'm just eyeballing. I want 3 hinges, so I'm using the binding tape 3 different times. Now what I'm going to do, and I want to show you one more thing, is the back of this binding tape has this release paper on it. I simply score the back of the binding tape about halfway in between. These are about 4-inch strips. So now what we're going to do is with the binding tape, the color part towards you, facing upwards, thread the binding tape through the slit. Pull it through. Now you'll see that it's halfway between. So now what I want to do is flip it over, and I'm going to take the tape and make sure that it's lined up exactly with the score line. When you do that, push it over with your finger and smooth it down just like that. Don't worry if it's crooked, this is the back of your page, nobody will ever see it. So now what we have on the front is a piece that still has its release paper on it. So here's one that I've already completed the back part of the cardstock. You can see that I've done all 3 of the hinges. Also on the front, I have adhered 2 of those hinges on this chipboard. I scooted that chipboard right in on that score line, so make sure it's really tight in there. Peel this off. I'm going to pull it over really tight. I'm using my muscles here. And there we have our folder. Isn't that cool? Don't worry if the binding tape goes down crooked, because we're going to cover that up in a minute. First, we're going to put pattern paper on the inside. So I didn't want to measure. I didn't want to get my ruler out. And so what I decided to do was I just put my self-healing mat on the inside of the folder. And then I have basic gray pattern papers, and I love their colors. I thought they were nice and primary colors. And I'm just going to sandwich all of these in between. We're going to make sure that that's nice and tight. Now you can see that I have a great guide for cutting without having to measure. So first I'm going to make sure all of these are square. I'm going to start to cut. Now I'm not going to cut all of them, but I just want to show you how easy it is. You don't need a ruler because this chipboard is nice and thick. You don't have to worry about, getting a ruler out and all that kind of jazz. So here are the cut pieces of paper, and they're the perfect size. It's actually kind of a little surprise. When you open it up, you don't expect to see color because it doesn't peek out on the front. And there you go. You have your cover. Now what I want to do, I did the same thing on the front. I cut a piece of the checkered cardstock we used on our folder actually earlier. And we're going to cover those binding tapes up. Now we're ready to put all of our elements that we made earlier. We didn't make this. Colin actually drew this picture, and I thought it was really cute. He had his little blonde hair there. I have another picture I'm going to just put at the top. I have some picture of some pumpkins I took at their pumpkin patch field trip and their Halloween party at school. Remember I talked about quotes? Well, I found another one. I'm going to use that and just paper clip it to the top right there. Now we're going to adhere the ABC folder. I have a tip about adhering the ABC folder. Make sure I'm only going to put adhesive on the 2 sides of the folder. You say, why? Why not in the middle? Well, I'm going to put it right here at the top. Now remember I said don't cut off all the froggies. Well, they're just going to slide in between those 2 adhesive points on your ABC folder. Now I have tons of pictures of Colin's schoolmates. So I'm going to just slide those right in there. Now we're going to put the Apple quote embellishment here at the top. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to adhere another piece of pattern paper. Now I have the photos of Colin. I'm going to put it at the top, and I'm going to kind of angle it. I like things to stick up off the top. I think it looks cute. So we're going to put that right like that. Now we're going to work on our title. I have found some really cute plastic letters, and I'm going to adhere them on top of some notebook paper. I also have a really cute little school bus sticker, and here I adhered them down. Now I found that when you adhere plastic letters to paper, I sanded the back of them a little bit. It made little grooves that really helped the plastic adhere and made a strong bond with the paper. So all we have to do is tuck it under there. And now let's take a look at the finished project. So here's the final page. I like to add details. What I found is when I opened it up, this flipped open. So that's why I decided to go ahead and add this paper clip to keep this closed, and it looks cute on the front with some little added color. I also added journaling around the edges. This page was really special for me to create. I got sentimental about it. I remembered our wonderful year and how much fun I had on the bus sitting next to him. I can see this becoming an annual scrapbook page tradition. Wouldn't it be cool to have 12 of these when Colin's a senior in high school? I don't even want to think about it. It makes me cry. I'm ready for kindergarten, I guess. I'll see you next time.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.